Oh shit. Turn up back again with another vid, man. It's a fat acceptance TikTok trend. Plain seats are made to discriminate against fat people. I hope y'all enjoy this shit because, dude, fat. Okay, plain seats are made to discriminate. Let's just get in the video.
I know that your comments were really well intentioned.
Alright, first let's read the thing. Thanks for sharing this. While on flight, I'm not particularly happy with the seats that I must touch other people.
I want to thank you for listening and engaging, and I also think it's just your comment is useful to dig a little bit deeper here. The dislike of touching fat people is fat phobic. And also we have to...
Oh my god, man. What is wrong with society, man? I am done with society. What is wrong with y'all? Listen to this.
Fat people is fat phobic. Like of touching, which is useful to dig a little bit deeper here. The dislike of touching fat people is fat phobic.
Monkey man, you don't want to be a part of this? No? This ain't for you? I don't blame you, brother. I don't. Hey, man, really? Everything fat phobic. Me not talking to a fat person is fat phobic, huh? This is not a word, bro. Stop making up words.
And also we have to be clear that, like, this isn't fat people going out of their way to try and invade other people's spaces. We are just trying to exist in public space. Weight and body size is considered an immutable characteristic, which means it's something that we don't actually have control over. In this...
What the fuck you mean you don't got control over it? You do got control over your weight. It's possible you can literally go lose weight, which you recommend you to go do. But the point is, you could lose. Stuff you can't control is like height. You know, that's something you can't control. Your height. Your weight is something you control. You can make yourself bigger or you can make yourself skinnier. You can control your weight. So I'm making excuses to not lose weight.
Same way that folks don't have control over their, like, sexuality or race or ethnicity. They're things that are...
Yeah, like you just said. We don't have control over our race, sexuality. But you got control over your weight, though. That's something you got control over.
Intrinsic to our being. We can't control how much space that we take up in the world. We're just trying to exist. Going back to my original video, fat people know how much other people, especially on planes, do not want to be in physical contact with us. We can feel it. We can see it on your faces. We can hear it in your groans. Sometimes we can read it on your phones when you're texting people about us. So here are some things that would be a really great practice for thin folks and even other fat folks who haven't dealt with their fat phobia.
We can hear it on you can feel it on your phone that you're texting about. Who the fuck gives a fuck? Nobody's randomly just on their phone texting their friend like, yeah, fat person. No, like.
Do to both continue to challenge our own internalized fat phobia and more actively show up for fat people in these spaces that cause a lot of distress for us. This is not universal to all fat folks. This is just something that I was thinking about as I was having to fly a lot over the last month. So, you know, use your human intuition when you're real life in these spaces. If you happen to be sitting next to a fat person on a plane and you notice that we are contorting our bodies to try and take up as little space as possible, you can let us know that it's okay to make ourselves comfortable. You could volunteer to lift up the armrest. That's a big issue.
No, I'm not lifting up my arm. I'm not gonna lift up my armrest because you want to sit down. I mean, because you want to put your fat over on me. No. I want to rest my arm. And I want to be comfortable resting my arm.
Don't make it a thing when we ask for a seatbelt extender. If a fat person is in a middle seat, that is so fucking dreaded for us. Like, no, it's dreaded. And you have an opportunity to switch a seat with a fat person so that they can be in a seat that's more comfortable for them, please do that.
No.
If you see someone being a fat phobic asshole.
She talking for fat people as if they're like a person with a disability or something. Or not even trying to be on no bullshit or sound bad, but she talking to them like they're babies or something. Like, no, nobody just for the, I don't know. She talking about like as they like old people type shit. You know, like old people, you got to do certain things. Like, oh, open, just help out. Like, what if we helping y'all for? Like, look at her. She don't look. She's probably like what, 23. I hope this whole video ain't her. I'm not watching the whole video.
Trade with that person. Do what you can to make sure that the fat person you are sitting near is not having to sit next to someone who is being, like, actively hating on them. Anyway, those are just a few thoughts that I have. Other fat people, if you want to share some of the ways that you would love if people...
Oh, my God. Why is stuff like this even on TikTok?
This is what I worked for my whole life. This is going to be a different level of play, different level of competition.
Could help make you feel more comfortable on planes. Let me know.
Not wanting to touch people on planes isn't because of fat phobia. Nobody wants to touch any stranger on a plane.
Exactly.
You're just more likely to touch a fat person because they take up more space.
Exactly.
And weight and size are definitely mutable characteristics, and we absolutely have control over them.
Exactly.
In the rest of this video, if someone is large enough that they are taking up more than one seat, then yes, some people are probably going to be annoyed. If someone pays for a seat, and then part of that seat is being taken by someone else, that can definitely be annoying. I think it's unfortunate that fat people can't be more comfortable on planes, and I don't think people should be mean, but nobody wants to touch anyone on a flight. And if you have to, you're not going to be happy about it. And all the other tips in this video about switching middle seats and lifting armrests and whatever, if someone wants to do that, by all means do that. But I don't think that should be expected. Like, it's not fat phobic if I am in a window seat and I don't want to switch to a middle seat for a stranger.
Exactly. Like, the window seat on the plane, that's one of the best. I've never been on the plane, but I know it's a good view to look out the window. You know what I'm saying? Who the fuck finna get up for your ass? Because you wanted shit. No. Sit your ass.
That's just me wanting to be more comfortable for myself.
Hi, I'm going to talk a little bit about flying while fat. The older and fatter I've gotten, the more my flight anxiety revolves around being fat in an airport and being fat on planes. Especially being on planes. Fat people, y'all know that, like, the looks that we can get from people, the actual comments that we get from people are just not great. It's not fun. I recently flew for the first time since the start of the pandemic, and like many folks, got fatter, which is fine, but was really nervous about being on a plane. I was traveling, though, with my partner, who is thinner than me, and so I did use her as, like, a literal human buffer between me and some other folks when we were on full flight, so I didn't have to deal with the looks or sounds of people having to sit next to a fat person. I asked for seatbelt extenders. It ended up being fine, but again, had my person to be there as buffer and moral support. Last week, I had to travel to a conference for work and was traveling by myself. And on my first flight, got my seatbelt extender, which was fine, but it ended up being a completely full flight, and someone had to come sit in the middle seat next to me, and I ended up being in physical pain from how I was trying to contort my body so that
I was ended up in physical pain. Oh my God, man. Damn, man. How about just lose weight? Why do fat people do this every time? You don't ever want to lose weight. All they want to do is complain about how people call it fat. Just get your health together, and maybe this wouldn't be happening.
I was giving this person space. So I finally, for the first time, decided to advocate for myself, and before my next flight, I made sure I went and talked to the woman at the counter at Southwest and got their traveler of size policy activated so that I could have a buffer seat. But she did go ahead and change all of my return flights so that I could have the buffer seat. And wow, my anxiety was so much less not
All the
having
people
to
who like
worry
their shit gotta
about
be
what
fat
folks
and
were going
overweight.
to say because they had to touch me. So if you have been putting off getting the proper accommodations for yourself, either because of your internalized fat phobia that you're still unpacking, or
Oh,
you
choo.
Quote space.
Oh,
But I
shit.
don't know why she needed to put it in quotes because that is their space, and it should only be taken up by them. And about the customer of size policy, now that I'm thinking about it, I feel like the fat acceptance movement would have a problem with it because customer of size is a euphemism for fat, and they don't like euphemisms for fat, so why haven't they heard any complaints about this? But anyway, this policy only exists on Southwest Airlines. Other airlines implement this policy. And
Alright, let's get into it. Just because you're fat, that doesn't mean you're automatically unhealthy.
No, you're
I'm
unhealthy.
fat. And guess what?
You're not
I'm
healthy. You're
healthy.
unhealthy. Stop
Fat
lying to
people
them
are
people.
not inherently lazy. They don't always eat too much. Skinny people can be lazy. Skinny people can also eat too much.
If you're fat, you are lazy. Mostly, you're gonna be eating too much, though.
Anyone can eat too much. Anyone can be unhealthy.
Yeah, anybody can
But
eat
just
too
because
much.
you're
Anybody
fat,
can
that
eat
doesn't
it.
mean you are automatically unhealthy.
No, bitch, you're
My
unhealthy.
labs, just like many fat people's labs, are totally fine. But regardless of whether those labs are fine, that doesn't mean you can disrespect people because they're less healthy than you. If you have
Nobody. Oh, shit. These people be talking like people just walk up to him like, she fat. Like, nobody does that, man.
a health superiority complex, get the fuck off my page. If you think you are better than someone, okay, so aka if you think you're better than someone because you're healthier than them, that's not gonna fly. Moral of the story,
Man,
fat
shut
people,
your
you're
fat
fine
ass
the way you are.
up, bitch.
Stop letting people think you're gonna die at 40. We are fine.
No.
We are totally fine.
Nope.
So
Don't,
next time
don't
you
do this,
encounter
guy.
fat,
Don't listen to this. Don't listen to the advice. If you fat and you probably what, let's say 20 something, don't believe what she's saying. You keep gaining weight, you won't make it to 50. You might won't make it to 40.
phobe, just have compassion. Know that they're probably going through something themselves. They might have some problems with their bodies or food or exercise you never even know. They might even be a gym bro. Anyway, I love you. Have a good day.
first of all, it isn't fat phobic to assume that if someone is fat that they eat too much. That's true 99.9% of the time. It's an assumption that hasn't failed me yet. Your body size is a reflection of how much you eat and exercise for skinny
Exactly.
and fat people. And yes, anyone can be lazy.
Yeah,
And I
anybody
think we
can
need
be
to define
lazy.
what healthy is. Health isn't just defined as your lab values or not having a quantifiable illness right now. But let's look at someone like Eugenia Cooney. As far as we know, her lab values are great.
Shit, come
She's
on.
not bedbound. Yes, she's on. Just like health isn't just lab values. And you're making
Oh, we got another person, y'all. I love you should watch some offensive memes, Loki.
Obesity and how it's
if you believe that.
just junk propaganda. Fat creators aren't out here giving their 15 steps to get that fat bod by summer.